I'm going to call today's meeting of the Public Service Subcommittee to order. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Alexander, Dixie, Eldridge, Johnson, Kiesling, Powers, Rudder. Chair Lady, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any personal orders or recognition from any of our members? Seeing none, I will now take up our regular calendar. We've had a request to take item number 2 out of order. So item number 2, which is House Bill 1687. Oh,
I apologize. It should be 1783.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the
oh,
committee.
I see what you're, 1783. 1733, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And there is an amendment that makes the bill. It is coded 11833.
Yes. We have a motion and a second, and later you're recognized to explain your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. In this bill, if this amendment goes on, it is very clear and concise. We don't negotiate with hackers. We don't pay hackers. We don't pay ransom. Don't even try. Don't take a hold of our systems here. Don't hack in and expect to get a paycheck, because it's not going to happen. And when you do that and say you're never going to negotiate, you're never going to pay, guess what happens? They stop asking. Now, private businesses can do whatever they want to. Cities and counties can do whatever they want to. But this is hanging a sign out of the the side of the state of Tennessee that says not for sale, and that's what this bill does.
Drafting code 011833. That's
Yes,
correct.
ma'am, Madam Chairman.
Do we have a motion on the amendment? In a second. So the amendment is now on the bill. And I think it's, do we have any questions? Were you going to explain the bill? I think you did. It makes
Yes,
the
ma'am,
bill.
Madam Chairman. This amendment, if adopted, would be the bill. And my explanation is exactly what this bill would do with this amendment.
We're going to vote on the amendment. You got a question? Okay. All in favor of the amendment going on the bill, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. The amendment is on the bill. Any further explanation from you, Leader?
No, and I stand ready for questions, Madam
Okay.
Chairman.
Do you have a question, Representative?
Just a quick question. Has this happened here in Tennessee before, or are we just being proactive?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So this comes directly from a constituent of mine who works in this arena, and it has unfortunately happened in small terms here. We have not had a massive cyber attack where they have held ransom a major system. We have had what I think the cyber folks would call nibbles. And so there've been small attempts at this. So before this gets into a large attack where they shut down a major system, this would have twofold. One, we're not going to pay you. Don't try. Just what I said a while ago, we're not going to pay someone ransom for our information. But it also makes it clear to our departments that we expect them to be ready for this. So have those backups ready, do what private business does out there. And in most regards, they're doing that. But we want to make sure that they are also ready for this, because some of these hackers that will hack into a system, they don't want to be paid. They just want to wreak havoc. And so we have to be ready for that as well. This bill does not necessarily do that, but I've met with some of the departments and met with some folks that are involved in this from the state, and I've made it clear to them that we expect them to try to protect our systems as best as possible. So again, we've had some small problems on this, but not a major one yet.
Any other questions? Questions have been called, so we're ready to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. The ayes have it, and your bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and members of the committee, and the folks in criminal justice will deeply appreciate you getting me on out of here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. That brings us back to item number 1. That is House Bill 1687 by Representative Barrett. Do we have a motion and a second on the bill?
Second.
There are no amendments filed, so Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 1687
addresses a very small issue in the code, in that we're currently having an issue with hiring of dispatchers. One of the challenges to hiring dispatchers is the cost and time for them to get their physicals. This will cut through some of those hurdles that they have, allow them to go to a nurse practitioner or someone along those lines, rather than having to go to a licensed physician. Again, that will save time and some money for them in order to be able to get these physicals done. Puts them on the same level as law enforcement officers as well.
Do we have any questions? Questions been called. So we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. The ayes have it. And your bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Appreciate you.
Next up, we have item number 3, which is HJR 688 by Chairman Todd, and that has been taken off notice. Item number 4, House Bill 1786 by Representative Vital. Do we have a motion and a second? We do. There are no amendments filed, and Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady and Committee. I'm here on behalf of House Bill 1786. This bill is brought to me by the Comptroller's Office. This bill protects the integrity of the procurement process and guarantees that bidders do not receive an unfair advantage. Simply stated, House Bill 1786 ensures the confidentiality of a bid during the bidding process. Currently, the statute is open to interpretation regarding the contract regulation of procurement records. This will clarify that the confidentiality provision applies to all solicitation for goods and services. Let me reiterate, this bill does not expand the confidentiality provision. It also does not amend the open records provision after a bid is awarded. With that explanation, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for the sponsor? Questions have been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. The ayes have it, and the bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam.
You're most
Thank you,
welcome.
Committee.
Next up is item number 5, HJR 706 by Representative Ritchie. We're going to move this one to the Hill. Next, we have item number 6, which is HJR 733 by Representative Butler. We have a motion and a second, and there are no amendments filed on this bill. So, Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Chair Lady. What this does is would make August 1st Gold Star Children's Day. This was actually brought to me by a friend of mine that is a Gold Star son, and he lives in Alabama, and they passed this in Alabama, and he asked me that I would carry this in Tennessee. I'd be honored to do so. So, and if you're not familiar with what a Gold Star son or daughter or spouse is, it's somebody that's lost a loved one in combat. And so with that, I will renew my motion and be glad to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Oh,
First of all, thank you for
You're
bringing this.
recognized.
I was just going to say, do you have an idea currently, like how many families there are in Tennessee that are Gold Star families?
you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady. No, I do not. I don't have a count on Gold Star spouses or Gold Star
right.
children. My friend's father was killed in Vietnam, so he was
Yeah.
very young when his father was killed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any more questions? Questions been called on the bill. All in favor of this bill, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. The ayes have it, and your bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, committee.
Next up is item number 7, which is House Bill 1788 by Representative Capley. Do we have a motion and a second on this bill? There are no amendments filed, so Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. This bill was brought to me by the Comptroller's Office. It is very simple. This codifies current practice by updating the law regarding the retention of records for state contractors and subcontractors. This bill would change the record retention period from 3 years to 5 years from the date of final payment, unless a shorter period is authorized in writing by the Comptroller. And that's what the bill does.
Do we have any questions? Question's been called. All those in favor of this bill signify by saying aye. All opposed, please signify by saying no. Looks like the ayes have it, and your bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee.
Next up is item number 8, which is House Bill 1828 by Representative Bolso, and that bill has been rolled for 1 week. Next, we have item number 9, which is House Bill 1597 by Representative Raper. Do we have a motion and a second? We do, and there's no amendments filed. So Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. HB 1597 is connected to 1598, which if this one passes, then I'll be working on it, with the goal of making Cleveland, Tennessee, the hot slaw capital of the state of Tennessee. To do this constitutionally, we must run HB 1597 first and make hot slaw and I say official state food, not the state food, but one of the official. And some examples of that could be like Memphis having barbecue as a state food, Nashville, a hot chicken capital, Collegedale, Little Debbie, and so on. This is part of Cleveland's history, and such as the creation of Mountain Dew is historical for Johnson City. Tennessee is blessed with many unique stories involving food and beverages. We have a task of keeping these historical events alive for the future. To refresh your memory, last year we voted to make pumpkin pie an official pie of Tennessee. Please help me preserve history by making hot slaw an official food of Tennessee.
Do we have any questions? You do. Well, you're
Okay.
recognized.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Sponsor, I've lived here all my life, born and raised in Tennessee, never had hot slaw. Can you tell us what it is or describe it? I've had coleslaw all my life.
Yes, and by the way, I do have it in the back room. Anybody wants to try it? So
Okay.
I have
If
it
you'd
in
have
the
brought
back
some
room.
with you, that would help
yes.
this bill.
But obviously I can't bring it as a prop. But and I'll go in more explanation on my second bill if the first one passes. But just to give you a very brief explanation, it is more of a mustard, vinegar, hot pepper type of slaw. And a lot of people thought that it was just coleslaw heated up. It's nothing like that. No, that's not. That's not it at all.
Yeah, I think that's COLE slaw, I believe. Okay,
that is
Thank you.
correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have any more questions for our sponsor? Seeing none, I guess we're ready to vote. So all in favor of this legislation, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. Looks like the ayes have it, and you're moving on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. And
Next up is item number 10, which is House Bill 1598, also by Representative Raper. And do we have a motion and a second on this bill? And there are no amendments filed. So once again, you're recognized to explain your bill.
this is the one I just alluded to. Hot slaw is a regional food native to the city of Cleveland. The actual recipe started in Cleveland, so on. There was a drive-in, an old drive-in movie theater called Starview, which was founded in 1955, and that's where they tinkered with it, and they made up hot slaw. And it's still a secret recipe till today. I do not have it. Only like 4 or 5 people in Cleveland have the hidden secret. The item is so popular in our area that every single public grocery store stocks it for its customers, and many local restaurants also have it. Due to its popularity, Cleveland hosts an annual event each spring called the Hot Slaw Festival, where residents submit their own version of hot slaw, and judges will pick the winner. Hot slaw is similar to coleslaw, and now I was just describing this. It's not a heated food. It is served cold like coleslaw, but it consists more of mustard, vinegar, peppers, and to create a unique flavor. Hot slaw in Cleveland has evolved from a side dish to use on hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken sandwiches, barbecue, and even in lieu of chow chow at times in pinto beans. As a result of this unique dish, native to Cleveland, I am requesting that you make Cleveland, Tennessee, which already has self-proclaimed itself as the hot slaw capital of the United States, the title of official hot slaw of Tennessee.
Do we have any, do we have any questions for our sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote on your bill. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. Looks like the ayes have it once again in your bills. Moving on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair
You're
and
most
committee.
welcome.
Times two. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Next up, we have item number 11, which is House Bill 1695 by Representative Alexander, and we're going to roll that bill for 1 week. Okay, now brings us to the hill of the calendar, and we're back to item number 5, which was HJR 706 by Representative Ritchie, and I think I see him. Do we have a motion and a second? We do, and there's no amendments filed. So Representative, you are recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. This constitutional amendment came to me from constituents there in the district, and what it'll do is change the Tennessee Constitution. If a member of either the House or the Senate is expelled, it will end up putting in the requirements in the Constitution. They're not eligible to be reseated, whether from an appointment or re-election, for 4 years. So it's just a requirement that goes into the Constitution there. That's pretty straightforward and simple. Here to answer any additional questions.
Do we have any questions for our sponsor? Yes, Representative Dixie.
Don't get to ask my seatmate many questions often, so I'm going to take advantage of this. No, just a quick question. This is more of a statement more than a question. I think this is kind of like a slippery slope. I think that once we've seen the climate here, and someone can be expelled from this particular General Assembly because basically we're in the minority. And I don't think that if the constituents choose to send that person back, I think you're overriding their vote. And I think there's an issue of us overstepping their right and their will, the will of the people, because if they choose to send that person back because they didn't expel that person, the General Assembly did. And if they choose that person to represent them, I don't think that we should, as the General Assembly, step in and do this. That's just my statement. It's not really a question, but it's just my thoughts.
Thank you. And I would say that it goes right in line with what you're saying, the will of the people, how the constitutional amendment process, obviously we've got to pass it through this particular General Assembly, and it'll come back up again for a 2/3 vote. And then it goes to the citizens of Tennessee. So it's not the General Assembly making the decision of whether an individual can come back in. It would be the 7 million Tennesseans having the opportunity to go to the ballot box, whoever's registered to vote, for them to then be able to say, hey, this is what we want our Constitution amended to. So I would say it does put this right here in the will of the people versus a lot of the other bills which are just decided on from this body.
Representative Dixie.
I know a lot of people always wondering what we're talking about when we're back there sitting down, but these are the kind of conversations we normally have. And it probably comes up to we agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, I appreciate the conversations that you give me and your point of view, and I respect it, and he respects mine. And so I just feel like that, you have your reasons for doing this, but I think maybe the timing, the optics are a little bit off. But I just think that I couldn't vote for it because I think this overrides the will of the people of that particular district.
Do we have any more questions? If not, I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor of this legislation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Oh, excuse me, I'm in La La Land. If you would like your vote recorded, please see the clerk. It looks like the ayes have it, and it moves on to full committee. This concludes our calendar, and we're adjourned till next time.